Action.
All right, everyone. This is Joshua Kennedy, the founder of Imagine Marketing, on call on a Zoom conference right now. Thank you to COVID. Thank you to COVID and for geographic reasons up in Rhode Island. Logan Giroux, who's going to be our first guest for the podcast today. So if you've kept up with us at all on Facebook or on LinkedIn, welcome you to the video. And once again, welcome to Logan Giroux, the account manager of Imagine Marketing. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, as we have already previously stated.
Well, cool. Well, I'm glad. Well, the audience needs to hear if
I
you're
know
doing all this
I'm
too.
doing well, audience. I'm doing well, and you are doing well too. Josh is also doing well, audience. In case you were wondering.
Yeah, I've got this deep V shirt right now on the patio. I'm doing pretty well with the 90-degree weather in the background, so no
It's
complaints.
humid as hell here. I don't know how it is there.
Yeah, it's pretty humid for sure. Thankfully, I've got some cover that I'm working under right now. But
Mm.
anyway, so I wanted to host. We have obviously a business podcast that we're starting, and I have an Instagram influencer girl that lined up tomorrow. Um, but I wanted to have you on as the first guest because you've sort of been a part of the process the whole time, and even dating back to even some of my former employers, we would sort of get on the phone and speak about business opportunities and just aside from business opportunities, just generally speak about life stuff. So if you want to go into maybe a little bit about yourself, and then also how we met and all that, and we can kind of take it from there.
Okay, so a little about myself. I am 23, just graduated college with a computer science degree. Uh, Currently searching for software engineering positions, but also just whatever happens, staying open
Mm-hmm.
to it. You and I met back in 2018, November, at the Aubrey Marcus weekend in Santa Monica, California. I went there because I had been listening to Aubrey's podcast for, at that point, I don't know, maybe a year or so. And he was kind of the first person that I really admired and followed. He was probably one of my first um, mentors, I guess, in a way, even though I never really met him. Just the podcast itself was very, I guess, inspiring and kind of helped me to steer my life in certain directions, which was nice. So I decided just to go there on a whim, I guess. Um, while there, I really just wanted to be myself totally, and because nobody there knew me, and also because I figured anybody willing to spend money and fly out to Santa Monica would probably be similar to me in that sense, because I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll just go for it. So there's probably other people just going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you and I connected while we were there. And I remember one night it was after the ecstatic dance, I think. And probably six of us that went out to dinner. I have no idea where. I don't remember the
It was
place, but
Yeah, it was a
do
really
you
nice.
remember?
It was. I don't remember the name of it. I just remember it was super nice. I love my favorite thing about just what I've seen in Southern California is how they've got the option to eat outside or indoors or just hang out. I love that
Mm.
open air sort of the open air sort of setup they have there. So I do remember that, and I remember it was really cool because we had a good balance of men and women there. I remember one or two of the actually one guy I think was another sort of software engineer developer. He was in the
Mm.
Midwest somewhere, and then there was another girl. I think that was probably she was a little bit shorter, and I think she was not too far away. She was in the Southern California region. There was maybe one or two others that were in our group, but it was pretty
Mm.
good. And it was kind of we kind of all. I think there were a couple different nights that that was one night where we actually bonded and had a real conversation. I think there was another night where I actually just got drunk with a few people too. So there's we varied it up. But yeah. So what do you remember? What were the highlights of that event for you? And are you glad that you went out there?
I mean, obviously, I'm glad I went out. But highlights of the event. Hmm. I mean, there were a lot. The whole thing was great. I really liked the ecstatic dance. I really liked just meeting all the people. I thought it was really cool that, because as you move through life, that I think it's really easy to think that your personality type is alone. It's really easy to think that like there's not a lot of people like you. So going to that event and just meeting a lot of like-minded individuals, and it's hard to really pinpoint what made us like-minded, but it
Mm-hmm.
was certainly very like-minded. I mean, like you said, I probably had, I don't know, a dozen just like real conversations with people that I didn't know, which again, you can do while you're traveling
Right.
easier than you can, I think, in your hometown. But I don't know, there's something about that crowd that was drawn there that was really nice. And I think that's kind of why you and I have kept up over the years, is just
Mm-hmm.
because we've connected, and we never really were, I don't think either of us ever felt any obligations to keep up. It wasn't like, oh, this friend, I should text him. It was more just like, hey, thinking about this thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of just want to talk to Josh about it because I don't know, we talked about some deep shit at one point. I remember we were talking about divine masculinity versus
Yeah.
like divine feminine. We were talking about those archetypes, and so I would just kind of have, you know, girl stuff or relationship stuff that we would need
Yeah,
to.
or vice versa. We've done
Yeah.
we've done a fair amount of moaning and complaining and celebrating and everything our wins.
Yeah.
And is she gonna like me? Is she not gonna like me? What's she gonna say back in this text?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of so I know that we obviously we met at the Aubrey Marcus Aubrey Marcus event in Santa Monica. It was a beautiful place. We sat down at dinner and were able to connect, and we even listened to Aubrey. Kind of the format was broken up into a few days where Aubrey would sort of like host the keynote speech, and then there were other people that were involved. You know, his girlfriend, I think girlfriend or fiance at the time, Whitney Miller, I think is her name. And then you've got a few other people. Luke, I can't remember, was it Luke's last name? Who's like sort of like the guy who was like in like the fitness guy was there, and then also you have who's the director of like whatever human optimization now. I can't remember, Kyle Kingsbury. So they had those people. I sort of want to steer this a little bit into the business side of things because so given a little bit of my background, I think that what we did is but back even in 2018, I was working for a company that manufactured CBD products, and I was running an affiliate program with them. And sort of what we do at Imagine Marketing, and I'm sorry if I didn't introduce the company this far into it, is at Imagine Marketing, we are basically a performance-based affiliate marketing agency. And so even dating back to when we initially met, I would had a few ideas about maybe branching out and starting my own business and stuff like that. And I kind of always had, it was almost like this, like, it was like this whisper, right? Like of like, almost like you had, like I had this vision of you maybe potentially being involved or being in the picture. And then even then I was like sort of thinking is like, you're about 5 years young, 5 years younger than I am. And you just graduated. But, I was thinking, I was like, maybe this would be a good opportunity if I can turn this into something, valuable or real, then maybe to get you involved. And then it's kind of organically just like seeded and sprouted from there. I didn't know the direction, but this is like, I've kind of had 2 or 3 attempts. Well, this is my 3rd attempt, really, two attempts at entrepreneurship. And this one is definitely the best so far, the most robust. So with that said, I want to talk about a little bit about maybe your opinion of, or your side of things about Imagine Marketing and kind of what we do at Imagine Marketing and sort of like the process of being involved up to this point.
First, I want to say I like your little, not now.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
exactly.
being professional right now, please.
You would think that but having a microphone and headphones on would deter people from trying to interrupt you, but unfortunately,
It's
that's not
COVID, man.
that's
That's
not the
where
case. So
literally in my basement, man. I'm at my bar in my house. I've done a couple of interviews here. And people are like, "What's that? What's that mirror behind him?"
yeah,
Like,
like
Sam Adams.
yeah, why do you have a why
Yeah,
why is your ceiling a mural of Christopher Walken? Like,
so what was your question about Imagine Marketing? What do I think
yeah,
about how it formed, essentially?
yeah. Talk a little bit about the background of being involved in it and what we've sort of asked you to do and sort of like what you see as the organization and sort of maybe the mission behind it too. And this will probably be an evolving conversation, but just give me your initial thoughts.
Cool. Well, experience, that's how podcasts tend to go. It's like one thing and then, psh.
Mm.
But so I think I'll start with the mission, because I think one of the most important things about any company or life in general is the mission. At the beginning, let me think. So when we first started talking about Imagine Marketing, it was me. We didn't even know that was the name yet, but it was me basically being like, "Hey, man, I'm going to be looking for a job in about a year or so. You seem to be like doing a lot of stuff, professional stuff.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you need anybody to work for you, like let me know, because I do computer science. So I was thinking at this time, I was like, I can code for you. Um, Fast forward probably about a year or so, we actually started talking. You had left your former job, and we still had the conversation going of like, yeah, man, I'll come and work for you. But now we were actually starting to think of like, well, what could I do? Because in reality, I'm not, you know, as far as a software engineer goes, I need a lot of work.
Mhm.
But I think the vision that you sort of had was me being more of a manager of the accounts of basically clients or affiliates, as this
Mhm.
being an affiliate marketing company.
Mhm.
Um, the mission, I think the one that we recently have settled on, and totally not concrete at all, but I guess the reason why I find myself getting behind this brand is because we want to work with conscious companies. I think that was kind of the thing that we started talking about maybe a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago. I remember I was sitting in a tree when we were talking about it. I remember I climbed a tree and we were
Which,
talking.
by the way, is very par for the course for Logan. I think I shared in my Facebook group. I can't. This is not verbatim, but I don't know. You might remember it better than I do. But we had like an Excel, like a Google sheet or something like that, where we shared all of everybody's information from the trip. And Logan said something like, "Long hair, yoga teacher, like bare feet." On the floor a lot, likes hugs, or something like that. I think that was like 80% of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's, which is perfectly describes him. That's the time capsule of Logan Giroux for you.
Yeah.
Um, so I want to actually I want to step in here too and say, as far as sort of honing in on our clients. So I sort of had an intuitive feeling about this, but it's sort of now becoming a reality. Is where so the software that we use, which it doesn't. I don't know if how much we need to share the software we use or not, but we work with a newer software basically out of San Francisco that is basically a tracking technology that simply is able to track visitors that come from one website or one flat platform to a client, our client's websites, right? And then tracks them through purchase. And so then kind of the position that we're in is we're trying to send traffic to these websites. And then ultimately we're a performance company. So we basically take commission off of any sales that we send over, and that's all managed through the dashboard and our software and all that kind of stuff. We actually did some testing today and onboarded a new client, but one of the Shopify stores is the easiest integration. So for us, because the app already exists in the store, it's just a one-click kind of thing. We can get it set up. And one of the things too is that we noticed is a lot of our early, as well as being conscious companies, so people that have a humanitarian cause or are doing things in terms of regeneration or mindfulness of the environment. Is one of the things we're doing is that we're focusing a lot on female entrepreneurs. So they seem to be an audience that really responds to us and gives us the time. So maybe what are your thoughts on kind of our initial clients so far and kind of like the response that we've been getting?
So yeah, I mean, like you were saying about conscious companies, I think that the reason I've been able to get behind what we're doing is because the mission is basically to help these conscious companies succeed,
Mm.
right? So, um, you know, I think that it's super important to have your business or your work part of your life be fulfilling in some sort of way. And I think that's the trap I'm falling into with other career choices that I've kind of been pursuing over the past year or so, is that there wasn't really this sense of doing good for the world, right?
Mm.
So I think that fits right into what we're doing with our new clients. So yeah, female entrepreneurs tend to be I guess, the category
Mm.
that seems to be most responsive to us. And I think that has a lot to do with us being, um, you know, you and I are both very spiritual, I guess, in
Right.
certain ways. I think we've both very much
We're,
embraced both
yeah.
feminine and masculine sides of
We're
life.
the modern man, man 2.0, right?
Yeah.
2.1, just like
Yeah.
spiritual workout, read. No, I'm just keep going.
Mm. Well, no, I think that there's some validity to that though, is because I mean, both you and I are very comfortable with the feminine side of
Mm,
humans,
mm,
right? And I think that as men, we are humans, and as
yeah.
humans, we are both masculine and feminine at the same time. And I think that the offer that we are really putting out there is it's one of those things that it seems too good to be true. And I think
Mm,
some people that are not as open to that, empty space receptivity that
mm,
is
mm,
pretty prevalent in the divine feminine, I think that it's like it can seem a little off-putting,
mm.
right?
What?
Because basically what
Mm,
we're saying is we're saying, hey, we'll help you grow and you don't have to pay us anything to do it. All
mm,
we're asking is that anything that we sell for you, that we
mm,
directly impact, that we bring in that otherwise would
mm,
not have been there, we take a cut from that. That will not, it will impact obviously the amount of money you make off that sale, but you're
mm.
not going to go in the red because of it.
Yeah,
That's, I think,
absolutely.
the thing that's super off-putting. That we've reached out to a couple male entrepreneurs, and it's just it seems to be a little bit more like rams butting
Mm,
heads, and it's
right.
kind of like, well, I worked here to get here. It's totally not to knock all the male entrepreneurs out there. We love you too, but
Yeah,
I think there has been a pattern.
yeah, I think what it is just that the audience has been easier to get, or the ear has been easier to capture from female women's entrepreneurs because, or women entrepreneurs. And it's interesting that you go back to the intuition thing because like we can make this a broader conversation about how sort of like the business as we know it, in terms of. And I was actually just having a conversation with my dad. So I for a client that we onboarded yesterday, I was very happy with the revenue share that we were able to get, and I won't mention the revenue share, the percentage, but I was very happy about both parties, how much they were going to make on each sale, and I probably and I could have driven it down even more to like wholesale prices for her, where I'm making even more than she is, kind of thing. But I was telling my dad, I was like, that's the Walmart approach of driving down sort of your supplier prices to the dirt floor, where your suppliers aren't making anything, and they're minimal. It's just like that's not the kind of business that we want to run, and I don't think that's the future of business either. And I think that globally, is that there is this more feminine sort of I guess presence or evolution happening in business and just in culture, where it's a little bit more humanitarian and compassionate than it is just driven. Because I think what men are realizing, or maybe not men, but maybe people are realizing, is that like this sort of uncapped, untethered, whatever, unbridled, right, is the word I'm looking for. Sort of like financial pursuit doesn't really get us anywhere. The quality of life and the quality of life of the people around us, that matters too. So that the fair trade things and the environmentally the friendly brands and all that kind of stuff. I think that's so important. And then the kind of the last thing I'll say before I kick it over to you is that generally speaking, I know that I don't know how popular this idea will be or not, but women just have women have a stronger natural intuition than men do. So if we, and then it seems like men predominantly, when they're factoring decisions, I'm not saying that women don't use their brains whenever they're negotiating. I'm just saying that I think that probably men are probably solely reliant on the intellectual side of negotiation, right? And leverage and power, or positioning and power and financial. And I think that women are probably factoring in more things into their decision making, into their conversations, which I think is why potentially we have an easier access to them, is because they do have a better intuitive feeling. Because our intention, and this comes always back to our intention as a company, and me and you and the rest of the people involved, is that if our intention is to create these win-win relationships, unlike like someone who drives a huge seller or distributor that drives prices to the ground, it's like we want all parties involved, the people promoting the products online, ourselves and the actual sellers, manufacturers, we want everyone to feel happy. And sort of the future, I think there's a book, can't remember which book it is, but I don't know, it's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, or one of those sort of like famous leadership books or business books. And it talks about finding the win-win relationships and sort of affiliate marketing in general. And what we're doing is sort of finding that win-win-win relationship. And that's our intention coming into it. So yeah, maybe you could talk a little bit about more in depth about sort of what we're doing as far as connecting these different promoters and affiliates, and sort of like how are we finding those, or how we've been reaching out to them, and then maybe what are the ideal customers that you'd want to work with too.
So ideal customers or
Sort of
like
clients, sorry, clients,
okay.
or sorry, not clients, but well, we can talk about clients, but also like the affiliates and stuff like that. So maybe
Cool.
a little bit about that strategy, that process.
Cool. Yeah, I'll talk about it all.
Okay.
So
I do for sure. So I'm trying to pass it
over. So I guess in general, the companies that we want to work with, I'm super passionate about companies that are doing more than just making money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I have talked about this before about how we really want to figure out, like, what do we want to do other than helping companies with good, environmental missions or sustainability, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to do that too? Because we can't just help others do it. We kind of have to do it ourselves too. So you and I have had that conversation about, what charities are we going to donate to? What percentage of our proceeds are going to go to X, Y, Z? So our ideal clients that we're working with, people that are selling products, are going to do something similar to that as well, whether or not it's planting trees for every pair of socks they sell, or, they make candles out of reusable materials or beeswax or whatever it is.
So I'll stop. So if I stop there, maybe you could talk about why you mentioned candles. Do you want to mention one of our clients that we just got now? I know that I've been working more with them on my side, but maybe tell us what you know about Objects with Purpose, the company that we just recruited.
Yeah, so I bopped around the website just a couple minutes last night, and I did get a nice vibe off of it. I remember reading a couple quotes. There was something like, it was like a candle, much like suffering friends, should never be left unattended. And I remember sitting with that for a second. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's good, man. Cause it kind of drives back to the point of service, really. Cause you are serving a friend who's in need when you're not leaving them alone. A suffering friend, when you're not leaving them unattended, you are caring for them. So, I know that she sells candles, and her name is blanking right now, but I know that
Iante, which we were joking about earlier. It's like that announced, like the name announces itself before you even walk into the room. It's like a little
Iante. It's good.
Like, can you imagine going to starting a conversation at a bar or wherever, and just meeting people and be like, I'm Iante. It feels like was the Princess Bride or whatever. I can't remember what his name is, but the guy, he had a classic name too, but I don't know if you've seen that movie recently.
I don't think so.
Yeah. No, it's a Montoya, something Montoya. I can't remember. You got to watch that afterwards.
And my girlfriend's probably told me to watch that too. I actually think she has. I think a scene of like a dude rolling down a hill is coming into my mind, but might be a different movie. But so Iante really represents one of our ideal clients, because it is very much, doing good. I can't remember exactly how the candles are made, but I remember reading that and being like, okay, cool. Like, I'm with it, because it's not just totally profit driven. It's not just totally like, gotta make money. There's clearly some sort of purpose and loving energy that's put behind it, which is really what we're looking for. As far as influencers that we're looking to work with, it's, right up the same alley. Obviously, influencers aren't creating the products themselves, but we really are looking for influencers who understand the mission of the client, right? Because you don't want to have somebody who's selling, handcrafted candles that are wonderful for the environment, and they're promoting love and they want to help people. You don't want to have that be promoted by somebody who is just like, got to get that money, got to make all that I can, screw everyone else, I'm going for it. You really want those two to mesh really nicely. And also, I think that's, if I was selling, I have to put myself in the client's shoes. If I was the one selling my product that I put my heart and soul into, I don't want just any person promoting it. I want somebody promoting it who really understands the mission behind it and who really is going to be able to grasp that and promote it, with their heart. So none of that energy is kind of lost in the way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the hardest things to do is, and it's interesting because I was listening to Alan Watts and also there's a gentleman named Edward Slinger. It's either Singerland or Slingerland. And he's a professor up in, I think like Western Canada, something. It might be just in somewhere else in Canada, but I think it's like Vancouver, British Columbia, something like that. And he has this concept, he writes about Wu Wei, right? Which is this Chinese concept, and Alan Watts sort of with his Zen and sort of Wu Wei, he's like sort of affiliated with this, affiliated, which is
boo, boo.
but yeah. But maybe we could recruit Alan Watts. Alan Watts is an affiliate, like whoever manages his media. We could like put some like candles under there or something, some links. We could try to work that out. But anyway, so he talks about the concept of Wu Wei being like authentic expression, right? So it's like whenever that musician is completely lost in the moment. I'm trying to think about, maybe Kendrick Lamar or something like that, where he's just like completely absorbed into the rap or something, and it's like you can't fake that, right? You can't imitate that. And I think what you're talking about with a lot of these like affiliates and brands and stuff like that is we're not looking for imitation, we're looking for authenticity, right? And that's something like Wu Wei that he was talking about, is that can't be faked, right? You can't. And so whenever you're promoting a product, if you don't really believe in the product that you're promoting, then it's really hard to convince someone else that doesn't know the product and that it's going to be good for them and beneficial to them. But if you like really believe the product, if you have the right intention, like if you 100% believe in it, like it's a lot easier to come across in that authentic way, I think.
Yeah, if you're not behind it, may as well be some bullshit ad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're not trying to just like bombard the internet with advertisements. It's more like, here's some good stuff that we believe in. Here's somebody that also believes in it. Like maybe they can convey that on to their followers or their eventual consumers,
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, we've talked a little bit about the business and stuff. We talked about a new client that we brought on. Maybe I'll give a little bit of airtime to the client right now. So Objects with Purpose is our new client that we brought on board, and I was literally doing some of the testing and getting them onto the program today. I'm really excited to bring them on and help build them. They're on a Shopify store, and Yante is actually based out of Georgia. What's happened sort of during COVID is she had like basically wholesalers stores across the country selling her products. She said she was in this high-end luxury candle store like out on the West Coast that sold a ton of products, and she's lost about 90% of her business during COVID, and she's looking to try to basically hedge her business a little bit. So she started selling. She wanted to put more emphasis on the e-commerce side, which is what we do, and she's a Shopify store, so it's really easy for us to work with her, and she's been really easy to work with. I actually found her through this group called Awarepreneurs, which is basically conscious entrepreneurs group on Facebook, and maybe I want to sort of shift into that or segue into that a little bit, is like how we started approaching clients, and like how we thought about sort of like attracting clients or finding clients, and like maybe even doing some of the networking and community group stuff that we've sort of started and that we looking to develop. Maybe if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes, I know that you for sure have been more of the the captain as far as this goes, but we've done a lot of cold emailing. So on my end, I'm definitely looking for people in my area that are doing stuff with e-commerce, reaching out to them both for advice and potentially future connections. I would say that the most difficult thing, the challenge that we're really running into, is that area of trust, right? It's hard to get someone to believe in you just to give you a chance, because we really are offering no risk. Because I mean, just from a logical standpoint, if you're not selling a product and I sell it for you, there's zero risk in that, right? Yeah. You might, instead of making $10 per sale, maybe you make $5,
right?
But it's still $5 that you wouldn't have had because you didn't have that sale, right? So it seems to me that that's sort of the main problem that we're running into. But how we're searching for clients is just reaching out, man. I mean, like I reached out to this one company that's pretty local to me the other day because I liked what they were doing. They made a lot of clothing from recycled fabrics, and a lot
Mm,
of the stuff they were selling was biodegradable. And I was like, hey, this is pretty cool, man. I like what you're doing.
mm,
Sent him an email, and I was like, hey, we're looking to work with you, and noticed that like not a lot of your traffic is coming from affiliate links.
mm.
There's a pretty big market out there that you're not really tapping into. So, if you want help doing it, I'm here to help you doing it. And
Yeah. If I could butt in there a little bit, I think that's an important point that we can sort of educate our audience or talk about in general, and that's sort of understanding that really all of digital marketing. So digital marketing is an online representation of a physical store, right? So if you have a Chevrolet car dealership, if you're selling Chevys online, that Chevy car dealership is going to do everything they can to get as many people on their property as possible. And all of, as well as having an authoritative or not authoritative, but a brand that has authority and trust and respect within a particular industry, and then meets and has some sort of value that create, solves a problem basically within an industry. Oh, ooh, crap. I think I just lost my my headphones. 1 second.
do 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 do
All right.
do.
I should be back on. Okay, perfect. I just used my hands. I was too Italian there. I just was using my hands so much. Yeah. Anyway, it's our first go ahead. We're doing all right. I think we're doing okay. So I was back to the Chevy concept. So all of digital marketing, right, aside from those things I mentioned, is about getting as much traffic as you possibly can to your storefront. That's as simple as it is as possible. And you want qualified traffic, right? You want traffic that is interested in your products, it's not spammy, that's ultimately going to convert and become long-term customers, all that kind of stuff. And so how I see it is that basically traffic breaks up into three subsections. There's social media too, but it basically breaks up into three subsections. One is organic traffic. So that's SEO, right? These are people that are finding your content, finding your brand through the search engines essentially, right? And SEO is a huge industry. Then you've got paid traffic, which is basically paid advertising. So might be just paid display ads, and like native advertising, might be PPC, which is pay per click, and it might be like paid social, right? So you got that paid. And then that last bucket is your referral traffic. And I think that the referral traffic is sort of the ugly red-headed stepchild sort of the digital marketing umbrella or piece, because that's where, I mean, it's almost like you can never control all the traffic out there for a particular product or industry, but one of the best ways you could do it is by trying to acquire the traffic that already exists and paying for it from a performance basis, which is all we do, right? Is we try to tap into that third category of referral traffic and say, okay, I was looking today and doing some research. So New York Mag or Business Insider or whatever, who all have affiliate teams and create partnerships, is like they're going to own, because of how much content they put out every day, they're going to own a lot of traffic for particular products and keywords and all that kind of stuff. So it's like objects with a purpose can never compete with Business Insider when they write about candles, but they can work with them. And so that's like if you can't beat them, join them concept, right? It's sort of affiliate marketing is saying, it's like, we're not ever going to be able to produce enough content to own all the traffic in the industry, but we can partner with different people. And that's where that win-win element comes into it. So yeah, I mean, I think that we have I'm very excited about our business model. Do you have anything to comment on that? Because I'm trying to think of the next question for you. So if you would take
Well,
it.
I definitely think that like it just kind of shows your expertise. Like I am not super good. I'm not super qualified with the actual marketing side of things.
Mhm,
I understand people. I know how to talk with people. I'm
mhm,
nice,
mhm,
but you actually understand, now that there's a client who wants to sell more candles, right?
right.
You in
Objects with purpose.
your brain is just like, brrr, like we can do this, 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 this. They're not doing this. We can do this better. Like for
Mhm,
me, I don't have the marketing brain. I just
mhm,
don't.
mhm,
I have a good, I'm a yoga teacher. I
mhm,
connect with people. I can
mhm,
feel where they're at. I try to make them feel safe and comfortable. It's kind of my
mhm,
thing.
mhm,
But I think that just something worth commenting on is that you do have a lot of expertise in this industry. And I think I'm going to hit you with the next question. I want to
mhm.
say, what did you do in your previous job that has prepared you for this one?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, I was working for, I won't name the company, but you could probably see it on my LinkedIn profile if you're watching this. But I, um, I worked for a company in Florida, and they sort of manufactured CBD products and health products and kind of a wide range of products. And they did sort of manufacturing for other brands too. And I sort of came in, and I think my initial title was marketing director, but I came in like June or July of 2017. And and one of the things I saw when I started working and digging into the stuff online, and I didn't have any of the experience or understanding that I know now, is I saw that there were a lot of other competitors using affiliate programs, right? Which is basically, like I said, tapping into that same sort of referral traffic. And so then from there, I sort of I started a program, and actually the CEO said that I don't think this is a good idea, Josh. Like, I don't want you to do this. And I kind of knocked on his door and kept at him. And then within maybe 2 or 3 months of me starting the company, like maybe August or September, we were building out the affiliate program and doing all that initial stuff. And so I had no previous experience with this, and probably had only maybe 6, 7, 8 months of digital marketing experience total before then. Um, so what happened is I did that, and then all of a sudden, 2 months later, we start recruiting this person. Like, I just start figuring it out organically as I go ahead, and just start understanding how everything works, and how there's promoters involved or publishers involved, and how there's these advertisers or these people trying to sell products like ourselves. Uh, and then sort of like, within that 2-year mark, I was running multiple drop shipping campaigns. I was working with, Hearst Media and all these big publishers like, Time Magazine and whoever, like, and Mashable and Kenja Deals and all these people that really had big audiences. And I was recruiting, and I was working with influencers with hundreds of thousands, if not more, of followers. And within 2 years, we had moved from back then a plugin on WordPress, which was the site our CMS, and we moved on to Impact Radius, which is like the most expensive enterprise level software out there for the affiliate program. And I spent about a year on Impact Radius, and then we kind of took it from zero to about $500,000 a month in revenue for the company just through my program. And I want to stress is that while I did have help from other people in terms of their developers and creators and stuff that I could rely on, or like give, if I needed an ad made or something written for me, then I could ask or request that. But there was no one above me or below me. It was like my creation, right? So as I built that from zero to 500K a month in 2 months, or sorry, 2 years, and I would probably say that that was one of the top 1, 2, 3 biggest programs in the industry. So coming from a 25-year-old with no previous experience to building something up to 500K a month and figuring out all these processes and organically just understanding how to do this, is it's kind of it's sort of a joke, and it's definitely a hyperbole and exaggeration, but it's like, they talk about like people that just understand things intuitively and by nature, like, pick up a baseball or a soccer ball, Maradona or Pele picks up a soccer ball, or, this person picks up an instrument and can just play it kind of thing. It's almost like that, where it's just like I kind of understood how it all works. And I think that while I don't have all the individual technical expertise of, maybe some of our developers or designers or whatever, I have this like global understanding of how all the pieces work, including, I think, some of the management aspects, which is like working with you and working with the designers and evaluating the software and working and recruiting the different people. This global view of things, which I think is going to be really helpful in growing the company and sort of fitting all the pieces together. And I really see this company, I mean, obviously it's just starting out and we're just acquiring our first clients, but I see this company, becoming a $10 million, 8-figure company or more, maybe within the next 3 to 5 years. So just because I think that the concept of it, I think the model is rock solid. I think that my understanding of it is pretty solid. And I think we'll continue to invest in this. And I think that we'll bring good people on board. And I think whenever you care about something and you have the right intention about it and you want to do good for the environment, for people and all that kind of stuff, is that sort of seeps through, that comes through. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that my personal platform, I think that your personal platform, I think that our company is just going to keep on growing. And, we're still young. You're 23. I just turned 28. So the sky is the limit for us, man. And we're going to do big things, not only for ourselves and for our team, but we're also going to do big things for other companies out there. And I'm sort of glad to partner up with them.
Well said.
Yeah,
And
man.
if anyone out there is listening, man, come on in, come join the fun.
Come join the fun. Come like work with a no risk organization that wants to give back to people and wants you to win too. We're not looking to take away from anyone.
Yeah, I think that's a super important point, dude, is
Mm,
we're really not trying to like steal anything from anyone. We're really trying to help like, hey, you have that cool thing? Like, hell yeah, man. You sell those candles? Let's sell you more candles. Those are
yeah.
good candles too. Why wouldn't you want to buy that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to quickly talk about that, and then I'm going to get back into another point about you, is the candles right now, from what I understand, are eco-friendly in terms of they're made with a coconut oil base, instead of got like no petroleum in there and stuff. So I guess like the fossil fuel element or whatever. And you're actually able to apply them onto your skin from the wax too. So, and just because it's like coconut oil and stuff like that, so they've kind of got this like dual purpose thing. Um, but I want to get back to the point you made about not having the expertise. So, me as an emerging sort of CEO or leader or whatever you want to call it, right? Is like I have to be able to look into people and get feelings about people and read them basically and place them in positions that I think that they're going to bring the most success to our company or my company, our company, and you ultimately, right? So one of the things that I notice about Logan is his like the authenticity and how he comes across to clients and even through email and on here is that he's really well intentioned and he has a good heart, and I think that comes across. And I think that while there's so many sort of like tactics you can pull with like trying to manipulate people and trying to leverage people and whatever, I think that the lane we're trying to find is good-hearted interaction, good-hearted intention that's going to hopefully open up, like you said, to open up that space for us to start the conversation, which I think that if we can open that space, we're going to be very successful. So maybe just talk about what you care about, like how you relate to people, like how people see you, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I guess overall it's pretty simple, right? We're all one. I
Mm,
mean, it's like that's it. Sabek, I think is how they call it, and I want to say it's Hinduism, not Hinduism, Sanskrit.
mm,
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's Sabek, right? It's all one. Everything's one.
mm,
So when you're talking about like working with a client, can you look at it as working with yourself?
mm,
Right? I
mm,
mean, I listen. You and I both listen to Ram Dass. I've
mm.
listened to a lot of his
Woo,
podcasts, and
Ramdas! Yeah,
yeah,
he's a beast.
shout
Yo,
out to Ram Dass.
what I'll say real quick too is that like I dropped some when I was 26, right at that thing, I dropped some Ram Dass on Aubrey whenever we were all talking, and at that point, I don't think that Aubrey had listened to Ram Dass much, but Whitney had listened to Ram Dass much, but so 12 years younger, 11 years younger than and listen, whatever,
Got him.
I got him, and then it's funny because I went to the Ram Dass retreat actually in May, 6 months after 7 months after the Aubrey Marcus thing. But then also too is that recently on one of the most recent podcasts I saw is that Aubrey called Ram Dass the greatest spiritual master of our time. So I was like, look at
Mm.
that, dropping that info, planting seeds,
Dude, he is though, man, for real. I'm so grateful for Ram Dass. But one thing that he says is like, he'll talk with Maharaji, which was his guru, and he
Mm,
always says that like every person he meets is Maharaji in drag, which
mm,
is basically like saying every single person you meet is God, and like,
mm,
can you treat them as such?
mm,
And that's kind of, I
mm.
feel like that's a big mission that I have in life is like, can I do that? I don't know. I can
Yeah,
try,
that's
but I
kind of
think
like
that,
that's the Jesus thing, right? That's the Jesus like
yeah, right.
washing the feet, right? Whatever you think about
Yeah.
conventional religion and Christianity and whatever, the Abrahamic religions, it's just like that's the whole thing is like humility and service to people. And I want to kick it back to you in a second, but one of the things that I'm learning in my life too is that it's not about me, right? And I think that Aubrey has said that too, is like a lot of these people that have reached the mountaintop of whatever profession or whatever platform, it's like they say like, oh, I realized like none of it was about me, right? The Jim Carrey, like if only when everyone were famous and rich, like they realize it's not the answer. It's like what I keep coming back to is gratefulness, a gratitude, like gratitude / presence, right? Which is very similar for me. And then obviously just like service or dharma, right? Which is basically like doing your part in the global harmony, that the interconnections, the web that we all experience in order to serve people. So that our piece in that, right, is our part of that network or our dharmic action is helping brands that have advanced social causes by building them and bringing new customers to them, right? And so that's kind of how I see us right now, and it might change in a little bit. That's where it's at. So I think that it's right back with your point about
Yeah.
the service side of things. And I think that's something that comes so naturally to you, where I think that other people, like it took me a few years to get there, where I think that, you're hitting that yearly?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's just like talk to any yoga teacher, any like good yoga teacher, I guess, that's doing it for the right reasons, and they'll tell you that. I talked with my manager at my studio the other day because I haven't been teaching in months, man, and it's weird because I don't remember what it feels like to be in front of the class and teaching, which is a
Mm,
very weird feeling. And
mm,
obviously, I know through sort of reassuring myself at different times throughout my life that teaching is this wonderful thing that really makes me feel amazing for doing it. Um, and the reason why it makes me feel so good is because I'm giving back, right? I'm
mm,
giving to people.
mm,
And sometimes it's as much as, maybe I don't really feel like I want to teach a class and I go up there and I teach and I teach and I give what I can, right?
mm, mm,
And that's the thing that's really made me realize like I love teaching yoga. Unfortunately, it is not going to provide me with the income I want
mm, mm,
because
mm.
there is that also desire for like, yeah, man, I want to have enough money to live comfortably and I don't
Yeah.
want to have to stress about bills,
Mm,
right? And I'm fortunate enough now that I live at home with my parents still. But if I could, I would teach yoga for the rest of my life. Like that'd be my thing. I teach it, a couple times a week, but
mhm,
uh, you know, if I wanted to make the money I want to make, I'd have to do a hell of a lot more. But
mm,
back to the service, like that's why I teach is for the service. And it's kind of funny because, I think that there's a way to seem like I'm this amazing person. Like, oh my God, I just want to serve. I just want to serve people like, oh, but really what it is it's selfish. It's totally selfish because
mm.
by serving people, I feel really good. Like that's why I do it because it's selfish. It's totally selfish. It's like I love helping people because it makes me feel really good when I help them.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I want to do that with this company too.
That's the whole altruism thing is like, is there ever true altruism? Because the guilt that it would cause to not do the service oriented thing. Like when I helped someone earlier, when I helped my grandma pull the whole hose to the front of the, because it's much easier for me. It's like,
Yeah.
was like that sacrificing, or is it like, because like I'm just like I'd feel guilty if I didn't do that. I'm supposed to. It's like more of an obligation. But cool. Well, yeah, like I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I really want to cover today and chat about. Um, maybe talk a little bit about some of your experiences. What's it like being in Rhode Island, and maybe a little bit about your family life or all that kind of stuff. Did you have any things that you thought of than yoga or that you'd wanted to grow up and do, or how did that all happen?
Um, well, I mean, I'm in the home I've lived in for about 18 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Live with two of my sisters, my mom, my dad. I have three sisters. One of them just moved out to Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as far as what I thought I was going to do growing up, I don't really know. I mean, my dad's a portfolio manager, so he does finance. I guess maybe part of me thought I would do that. I've gotten some financial firms reaching out to me kind of randomly.
Mm-hmm.
um,
It's because you
but
threw Imagine Marketing on there, and then we got that
yeah,
we
yeah,
got that equity, man. We got that
yeah,
brand equity. Like
yeah,
they reach out. They're like, everybody wants to holler at you now when you're when
yeah,
you're when you're taken by Imagine Marketing. No,
yeah.
so I think that I think we've talked a lot about the business stuff, and it's good to hear a little bit about your personal life and the Aubrey Marcus event and everything. So maybe let's talk a little bit about your goals for the company that you foresee, or your vision for the company in the next, maybe let's say 12 months, right? So one of the things I know is actually let's talk about, I want to take a company trip to Charleston. We won't talk about the financial side of that right now, but we have a certain financial goal that we're trying to hit to get to Charleston, and I'd like that to happen by the end of the year. But maybe for the next 12 months, what do you see for the company? What's your vision?
My vision is, a couple dozen clients that we're working with. I really want to know them all
Mm,
personally, and I want to
mm,
know all of their goals. That's
mm,
really what I'm interested in. I'm interested in talking to the companies to see what their company is about, asking them what they want, how we can serve, and then helping that mission come true. That's basically as simple as I can get it.
mm,
I don't want to have to be tied down to any office. I like the idea of being able to roam.
mm.
I want to be teaching yoga still. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's probably way to put it.
Cool. Yeah, I think a couple dozen clients that would be a lot,
Oh,
but I think that if we could get to 10 to 15 clients
thanks.
within the next maybe like 10 clients in the next year, I think that's a good place to go or to come from. So let's get to 0 to 10 clients in the first. We're sitting at I registered the business on January 30th of 2020, so we're not even 4 months in. It took me a month and a half, 2 months to build the website. And we've only been really hitting this for 1.5, 2 months as far as the recruiting side of it. And we've got a couple clients. So if we could get to 10 clients within the next 12 months, I think that's a really good place. But we always have to be open to faster growth, right? We have to be receptive to that. So that's kind of what I see.
Yeah,
Imagine
see what
marketing,
see
right?
what just came in.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, yeah. The Logan Grioux, the top, our initial business cards, the top is a little bit messed up, but they're not terrible for a first run. So
Let me take a look at this thing.
I feel like you're undressing me on camera with my
I am.
business
That's
card
exactly
design.
what I'm doing. I think they're good, man. I like it. I like
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty cool. You want to
It's
show it
really
to the
cool.
camera one more time?
My hand, it's backwards on the camera, but and it says my name on the back, my info.
So that's Logan Giroux, account manager, making everybody feel loved, and
Oh yeah,
then
man.
helping them grow their business, their mission-oriented business. So with that, we kind of talked about our goals, and obviously there's a wrap up as far as the business and personal stuff, and kind of where we came from. How can people contact you if they want to contact you?
Any way they want, really, any way they can find me. Facebook, I am Logan Giroux,
Mm-hmm.
Giroux. They can reach me at logan.g@imagine-affiliate.com for
Mm-hmm.
an email. LinkedIn, Logan Drew, same thing. I think I'm pretty recognizable on those pictures, so you
Yeah,
probably won't have any question as to if it's me or not.
that long flowing
Um,
hair of yours.
my girlfriend would probably yell at me to brush it. I don't like brushing it, but she tells me, she's like, "You need to brush your hair." I'm like,
Yeah.
but there was something he said that kind of brought up this saying that my teacher used to say, my yoga teacher, and he would say, let this or something better come.
Mm.
So basically, like that whole idea of what are our goals? Those are the goals, but I think something that makes us very unique is that we are both consciously open to better things that are coming.
Mm.
I think that's super important, and that's very deeply ingrained into our business. Is like, yeah, we have these ideas, this is where we want to go, what we want to be doing, but we are also totally open to anything better that may come. We
Mm.
don't know what that is.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of uncertainty, right? That's taking the leap of faith or the magic dark or whatever you want to call it. So I want to actually, so obviously I'm going to have you back on, and we'll sort of maybe we'll have you on once a month or something like that, or once every couple months to try to just catch up and see how things are going. But one of the things I want to talk about too is as we get more into this is like talking about actually sort of like maybe the energetic principles of business. So like manifestation and just like energetics in general. Like I know there's a woman out on the West Coast named Lacey Phillips, but she's a manifestation coach. And I've already told you, I won't get into that, open that can of worms right now. But I've already told you that I've already seen some of those things. It's happened in relationships previously where you want to, you have something in mind and then you get these like subtle tests along the way. And then sort of like, it's like 3 or 4 days ago, I had someone reach out to me about taking over an affiliate program for them, but it didn't really align with our vision or our ideal customer. And it wasn't sort of that environmentally minded, socially conscious like thing. And then, yeah, I actually turned them down. I said, I put my foot down, drew my boundaries and said, this is not the client that we want to work with. I'm sorry right now. And literally the next day we get a new client, so it's just like that kind of stuff is really interesting too. And I think part of what we honestly, we never know what's going to happen, but we might be really heavily, like I said, as we start to take on more like female partners or, with entrepreneurs, like these entrepreneurs and everything in businesses, is that this like sort of like more energetic or soft science-y sort of thing might just like just might appear where it's like we're not just like doing the cold calling, we're not just doing the messaging, we're not just doing the SEO or the paid advertising. It's like we're also energetically trying to attract clients and like understanding those sort of dynamics too behind it. So maybe as we learn more as people and individuals have more exposure to these things, we could talk more about that kind of stuff. I'd be really interested. And then we should both do that course or some of the courses that she has, because I think that is probably something that not many people do in business, or some people do, probably not a lot. I'd like to move that conversation forward. So any parting words before we head out, Logan?
I just think that's a good idea. We should talk more about those sort of energetic principles of business and
Mm-hmm.
just life in general, but specifically how they apply to what we're doing here at Imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I've already seen it happen with some of our initial clients as we've, and this is will be the last thing I say before we wrap up here, is that a model or shape of our ideal client and our ideal customers is coming up. And that's basically a female-owned business that is a Shopify store that's got anywhere from like $10,000 in sales to $1 million in sales, that has a mission behind it. And I'm sure there's a tons of sort of those kind of opportunities out there. So that's kind of what we're focusing in, or that sort of an emerging model for our clients. So it'll be really interesting to see, as we start to develop more of those relationships and as the business grows. So Logan, I appreciate you having on the inaugural, the version of Imagine Marketing, the Connect podcast, which is what I named it. And I did the artwork as well on there. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. That global perspective again. So I look forward to having you back, and I look forward to helping you succeed, helping the business succeed. So with that, I'll leave you with the last word here, and then we can head off.
Cool. Ditto, man. And much love to everybody listening, and to you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, sounds good, Logan. Have a good one. We'll catch up.
All right. See ya.